Okay. Am I even starting yet? Oh yeah, okay. There we go. Good, good. So, first things first. Um, basically, instead of making regular videos, I'm just gonna edit the heck out of my live ones. That way I can answer more questions instead of going back. I'm sure I'll get more questions regardless. Discord is either going up on Saturday or Sunday. So that'll be nice. It'll be interesting to see you guys chat about different things, and it's a better way for me to get in contact with you guys. Also, the webpage. I want to have that so that you guys can be able to upload all this wonderful stuff. And basically put up your work, that type of stuff. And yeah. So we're not using we're gonna use Blender in this, but we're not using GIMP or Photoshop. When you're making your own textures, it's definitely good to actually make them. And I'm kind of breaking my own rule with this. I will be downloading textures just to show you how to use Mixer and what Mixer is all about. We're also going to be using another Blender tool on GitHub. Yes, we're going to download it from GitHub. And what it's going to do is it's basically going to categorize. So basically when we went ahead and we took the UV maps and then had each section and then put, say we put this one here going this way and then another one all the way up on the top left hand side of the screen. That was another way of doing it. We don't have to really do that anymore with Mixer. I do like using it. I think it's great, but I also think it's good to figure out how each model works and what have you. You really get to know a model better when you have to click on each and every point in Polygon. Some models will just totally blow your mind. Other ones are pretty self-explanatory, especially if you're going to get into 3D graphics. But yeah, I want to build up this community because now you guys, I think more than ever, I know a lot of you guys are struggling with Blender too. It took me about 4 years, 5 years, just to I'm still not done learning. I'm learning every day. But I'm just 4 or 5 years just to get comfortable with the interface. And that's not don't let it become overwhelming. You shouldn't look at it like, oh my god, I'm not going to be able to do this. I want you to look at it and really think, wow, look at all that I can do. This is just a huge opportunity. Now, this is going to be Mixer for this, like a door. Yeah, it would be good. Again, I really did enjoy making this model. And right here, man, that's just garbage. I could have done so much better with that. I should, actually. What the hell did I do here? I don't even think that's mine. But something for the AK. Oh my god. Last live stream I was getting a little overwhelmed. I'm like, man, it's gonna take me a very, very, very long time to do this. For the sole purpose that it's broken up into 5 different parts. And yeah, honestly, that other program that everyone keeps bringing up, the $200 one, I keep forgetting the name of it. It would probably definitely come in handy, that's for sure. But the main thing is I gotta realize, hey, something else has gotta come in handy, and the whole point of this channel is doing things on a shoestring budget. Because if you really do want to get into game development, skinning, you don't just need to know the legals and ins and outs, but you also want to make sure that when it comes down to it, how much money did you make? Especially if you live in the United States and we have taxes every year. You should want to do it anyways. So what we're going to look at right here is, we already went through this, but I'm just going to go into it again. you have the breakdown, you have your body, you have the barrel, your stock, and I believe this is the trigger and what the hell is that called? Like the clip. I think it's called trigger and clip. And how we find out. Damn. Mag and grip. Wow, not even close. So you would save all these into one folder. I already got mine right here. I'm going to call this one Doomsday just because, you know, I'm that type of guy. And again, it all comes down to how you actually... I put everything underneath my C drive. That way it's easily... I can find it pretty easily. It's not, you know, underneath temp / whatever program files and then my username or my username and right here underneath C, tutorial. Then we're going to go ahead and tutorial. But I had already downloaded it right here under Doomsday. Alright, so I already have these objects. And normally with the other way that I showed you guys the first way, that's it. We got our AK barrel, we have our body, we have our mag grip, we have our stock. That's we didn't have to do anything else to this except open up Blender and unwrap it, and then go from there. We can get our template. Which every template that I do is pretty much available online on my website. Well, and there's really not that many of them. But anyways, you're not going to need that with this one, really. So, unfortunately, these now... Then I have my maps. There we go. So, barrel, mag grip, main. Main should be body, but you get the basic idea. And then there's your diffuse, your normal, your ambient occlusion, your specular / gloss, and then your normal. These are your 4 main maps. Sometimes there's others, I believe. Oh, this only has specular gloss, so this doesn't even have AO. I don't even know if there's a slot for it. Barrel. There is. I didn't download the... Really? Okay. That's body 1. Test. Okay, here we go. Tutorial. So this is how you would download each one. There's my Doomsday. Barrel. Maps. Oh, there is an AO there. What the heck am I looking at? Stock. Anyways. No, they didn't use an ambulance. Okay. Well, we're going to use one. Because you might as well. I don't know the reason why they did that. I'm guessing it has something to do with the AK itself. What happens if I take out... Now, I believe if we add in just an alpha map, that'll take away the whole thing right here. But yeah. So we're going to go ahead, now that we have this entire thing downloaded, and we're going to be doing the stock as well. Right there, that's high specular gloss. That's super shiny. And I am definitely going to... Yeah, okay. So right here... Bring that down. Alright, I think we can pretty much exit out of this. Because I have them all downloaded. Now, if you've gotten used to setting up everything else, this should be a breeze too. So we got the AK-47 tutorial. Alright. I'm going to create a new folder. And we're going to call this 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to put a number in front of it, or we'll do Z FBX. That way I have it right here in this folder. Now, this barrel, let's go into here. We're going to go to File, Import, OBJ, underneath C, tutorial, AK-47, and I want to remember this, so I hit the plus, Doomsday. Here, you know what? We'll hit that. We'll take that out. And we're going to go into... Alright, there's ZFBX. So, do that under there so you had this one. Let's start off with the body itself. Oh, before I forget. Now, there is no screencast keys. There we go. For the other program that I'm using, so just try to listen carefully. Alright. Now, normally we would just take this, go to our UV editing, we'd do our thing, and then we'd export the image, the map. This we actually have to increase the model size. If you look at this, if I hit Shift and C here, I can recenter it, and then Shift and tilde brings you out. Now I am going to be, when we make our own models for when I start doing my Blender tutorial series, you're definitely going to have to learn the hotkeys. This time around, it's a lot a bit different, just because we are going to be using Mixer. Now, go ahead, take a look at it. It's pretty small in comparison to the rest of the area. I mean, for example, his Shift and A, we're going to add the default cube alone is giant. And I think the reason why the developers did that, somebody was asking me about, you know, hey, my maps don't look that good. And is it something that I'm doing? Is it my computer settings? It doesn't have anything to do with the computer settings. It's just, it's a 512 by 512 map. You can always decrease it. It will always convert it to whatever Rust needs to convert it to, whatever type of map you make. When you download it, it really is that bad. As long as it's squared. So you have like 512, 10, I think it's 1920 by 1080, and so on and so forth. And then you got your 2K, 4K, 8K. It just goes up. Same thing goes for modeling when you're modeling this and using Mixer. You need something larger. Otherwise, it's all going to mesh together because you're actually working with, instead of, you know, AO, you're working with displacement in Mixer right here. Let's bring up Mixer. AK. Let's delete that here. So you open up Mixer. You're going to make a new project. This new project, I don't know, we're going to call it AK. Underscore and body. Add. Alright. No mixes in this project. So this project, we need to add a new mix. Body. Now, it starts off, okay, so you have 512, and as Rust goes, you know, it just goes up. Then 1024. I usually work in 1024, but you can work in 2048 if you want. 4096 or 8192. 8192 is 8K. I believe that's still experimental. Yeah. Okay, 8 mixing is considered experimental until we've looked further into memory optimizations. Nope. Let's do 4090. Okay, so you could do 4096. You could do 4K if you really wanted to. But again, I believe Rust is not going to make it 4096. I do believe, I'm not positive, it's going to knock it down to 512. So let's work right in the middle. That gives it a little bit better, working to use. And then we have our plane, our size. Let's keep it, 2 meters by 2 meters is okay. I believe I have tested it. We'll use 1 meter by 1 meter. No, it's really not going to matter. But we need to bring in a 3D asset. Nope, I'm sorry. I take that back. A custom mesh. And right here, this is Rust models. Let's go back to C. So it's the same thing that you guys would be working for or working with. All right, we have these right here. And this is what I was saying before. Normally, we would just load something right in, but I'm going to show you what ends up happening. Let's load in the body. Go into our viewport. Here we go. Nice. Now, do you notice anything? Right off the bat, just looking at this. You're having model tear if you don't notice it. Right here, and you can't edit the model in any way whatsoever. This is pretty much the same as, using any other paint program. It's not a modeling program, and Blender, even though you can paint in it, it's not a painting program. It does the very basics. And what this does is pretty much the same thing. It's doing the basics. It's not actually going in, and it's not editing it anymore. With this model tear, you are not going to be able to get the fine details, and it's going to come out not the way that you're expecting it to. We need to increase this model. And the best way to do it, at least that I found, especially when you don't want all the extra memory and all that other stuff, is to go ahead, jump into Blender. Now that we have this, because again, look at that. Look at the size of your default cube as opposed to the model that you usually get. And again, when you're working with these these textures, these are all the ones that I downloaded. Main. Okay, diffuse, properties. Okay, no, this is 1024 by 1024. All right. I could have sworn it was. All right, well, we set it at the right one. So what we're going to do here is, this is the normal model size. I usually open up a notepad or something just to remind me. And what are we going to times the size by? So down here you can see everything that I'm doing. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to hit S for size. Now you can put in a direct size, or if you look up here at the top left, it's showing you how it's scaling by how much. I want to scale it by 2, 0. We're scaling it by 20 times. Okay, shift and tilde to move in. Let's bring that down. So let's do this once again in comparison. There's our regular default cube. And this is our model. So 20 times may have been a little too big, but I don't think it'll ever be big enough because, again, all these points have connected. There's not anything on the model that is individually being scaled up because you're in object mode. So now that we've scaled this thing all the way up, let's delete this. And we want to go ahead and we want to export this. So we're going to go File, and we're going to export it into an FBX. But what I'm going to do is, because when we want to put this model back together, again, I did that after downloading everything. If you guys haven't done that, just go back into... Hey, what's up, Gorilla? If you guys... Alright, so there we go. We got that size, normal, in Mixer, model tear. It's way too small. That's the custom mesh for AK-47 body. 20 times, perfect. So what I'm going to do here is scale to 0, enter. And now I'm not going to move that around because when we import the other models to put them together, and I am going to save it right as is. Or I can just bring it in after. Yeah, alright. Well, it really doesn't matter. But if you're going to go and keep it all in the same scene, I'm going to be closing this window and opening it. I recommend you save it. But to make it a little bit easier, why not? This will be a little bit experimental right now. So, File, Export, and then here's our FBX. So again, it's all about keeping everything nice and neat. Here's our Z FBX, and we are going to call this body. Export. All right. Now that we have that, custom mesh, let's open this up. ZFBX, body, open. A lot bigger, and now we don't have our model tear. All the polys are right where they're supposed to be. And again, it takes a little bit longer to upgrade or do this, you know, than the other way, but in the long run, you're going to be saving a lot of time, and it's really just going to be less of a headache. All right, so now that we got our model, and you guys are checking this out, we have no model tear. This thing's not just ready to go, not just yet. There is a plugin. Oh. Let's get this down here. There we go. Now, you're going to need Materialize. Everything that you need actually is down at the bottom. Because I used to texture developer for I want to get into skins because... Oh yeah, skins it's great. I don't just do skins, I mean I do 3D scenes and stuff too, but right now, I mean, skins it's just fun. It's a hobby, you know? And there's a lot of people asking me about it. So now we have Materialize. This thing's great, you know. Again, I believe it was used with Naughty Dog in Uncharted. I think it was Uncharted that made it. I'm not using this today. I'm going to make a whole nother tutorial. I'm sure if you've seen all the other tutorials, I've gone through it a million times, but this will create the wide variety of maps that you need for making your own textures. I can't emphasize that enough. But just for time's sake, I am going to not use that, and I'm going to use, yeah, I hate to do it, textures.com. Yep. Now, what I don't want to see, or not that I don't want to see it from you guys, I just don't want you to get in trouble because you will. Quixel Mixer, or Mixer is made by Quixel, hence the name Quixel Mixer, who is partnered with Megascans. Now I have an Unreal developer. I have the license or whatever. And I believe over the summer, it might have been last winter, but last summer, they partnered with Epic Games and they unlocked pretty much their whole entire, so right here, all 11,235 assets. Now slow down, I know you're drooling from the mouths right now. That's only for Unreal. That is not anything, at least that I know of, that has to do with Rust or Face Punch Studios. You can use it inside the Unity engine, but not for selling something on there, because you are not, even though you're signed in with a license for that, it's being deceitful. I don't know. Just trust me, you can't do it. Go ahead and read it. It's there. It's too bad because, again, like, oh God, so much. So good. Look at that. I will say this, though. It's great to practice and learn on. But the amount of stuff that you can get, it's going to be very tempting. I highly suggest you only install... This is only one of the packs, by the way. There's 5 packs. I just, for ha-has, was like, all right, let's see what we got here. And I said, okay. They have been carefully vetted, and they've been used with each other. All these, even though you're using these and say you make another texture out of these, it doesn't matter. It says it in the fine print. And that goes all the way down to their brushes. So you got to keep in mind that it might be tempting and you're like, oh, who's going to catch me? You might not get caught at all. I'm just highly recommending against it, because if you do get caught, you're screwed. A lot of people laugh about it until they get caught. When you get caught, it sucks. You're going to be working for the rest of your life, not to stay in an apartment, but to pay off any extra money that you have, because it happens. It happens every day. Especially, why do you think all these YouTubers are crapping their pants with the DMCA strike? It's bad. And now that we're in this technocratic society, that's all right. That's a whole nother rant. So these, no Uzi. What I want you to do, I have all types. I put mine right down here so I don't get them screwed up. My textures. I know these look like garbage. These are just my test ones. So, do you have somewhere? No, I don't actually. That'll be on the webpage. I'm currently working on something else. I'm releasing the webpage this weekend. But this is kind of like, boots on the ground real quick, just starting. So these are the textures that I just started. This obviously, let me see here. Now, it went into the whole thing. And you're going to be like, well, okay. And that's because it's looking for the whole. Let's go into layers. Here's my bump wall. Let's change this back to a plane. Now, this was just created with Materialize off of a texture that I created right here. You gotta be kidding me. Should leave a link in the description. This was a texture generator. Guy says basically, yeah, you can do whatever you want. I created a texture. And for ha-has, I also used the normal map online. And created, my AO, my specular displacement normal, and then my height with this. I just wanted to see how good it worked. Yeah, dude, all the... Well, if you want to hold off on the Materialize, yeah. And don't forget, I set it so that if you guys need to rewind anything, go for it. When this finalizes and we're done with this tonight, I'm just going to make videos out of this, because it's kind of hard for people to follow along when I'm going back and forth and asking questions, after the fact. So now that we have... So basically those 2 websites are done by Materialize. And there was a couple things that I did. I mixed it in with Materialize. So I have all these, and then obviously you have your displacement, not just with your height. Because I wanted to see, exactly what I could do here. the metallic and the specular, or I'm sorry, my gloss map were kind of OP'd on that. It was pretty nuts how much they were. I'm going to change this down to a 1x1 meter. Okay, so let's do 2x2. I believe that's what it's supposed to be. And then after that, it's going to start repeating itself. So if it's a true map, or if it's a true procedural map, you're not going to see any tearing or anything like that. I made sure that this was completely procedural by flipping it 2 or 3 times. I believe it was a 1x1, and then I made it into a 4x4. So let's do 5x5. Yet it's still, I'll get into that in a whole nother material. So you want to make sure that you have everything, and what we're going to do is underneath my textures, I'm going to be adding textures in here through textures.com. Now, textures.com you can use, and I'm going to go over the terms of use real quick with you guys just so you can see. So right here, registration of your account. In hindsight, or basically what it's saying is you get so many credits per day within a 24-hour period. That 24-hour period, you can use it pretty much what you want. As soon as you become aware of a reason to assume that your account has been accessed, okay, or if somebody else is using your account. So the only one that can use the account is you, not your buddy calls up and says, hey dude, I have one with textures.com too, but I used all my textures and I need you to use textures and download them and send them to me. And you're like, no, dude, I'm not going to do that. They're like, well, can I just log into your account and do that because I already used mine? If you do that, this whole thing's null and void, and they can pretty much do the DMCA. They can, again, you know, it's not smart. Don't do it. So free and premium credits, you get an account, exchange for credits. Okay. Premium credits, if you would like to gain access to our full library of content, you may purchase premium credits. You can buy premium credits, blah, 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 subscription or credit pack, yada, yada, yada. The content will be downloaded in exchange of free credit. Okay. Now, basically, when you already download something, there is no double downloading. It won't use up your credits. Premium access subscription. There we go. Re-downloads. Okay. So you have 3 years, basically, to use it up. Now, compensation and payment, that's if you want to go. I'm just saying we're, for free. Okay, right here. You are permitted to use 2D, 3D, graphic web design, advertising and banners, movie, television, incorporate content and other computer games and 3D model scenes. You can sell all this wonderful fun jazz. But only if you add the following text to the documentation accompanying the model, which in this will be a model that we're using tonight. So notice in the description, I put this. You will have to put this into any of the models that you use if you do decide to download something from textures.com to use your models inside Rust. If you do get caught, I don't know what'll happen. They might contact Steam, and Steam might be like, oh, yeah, okay, how many models did he sell? Because if you look at some of the Steam store models, there's a couple $1,000 ones up there. They're going to ask for some way. These guys are going to be asking for compensation. And don't forget, Steam has access to your hard drive, which you said, yes, you can go in and look through my files anytime you want. So if these guys make a complaint, they can go in, they can look at it, and Steam can probably not only lock your account, but they got your payment information too. So who knows what else will happen to you, especially if you live in the United States. With that being said, and that disclaimer, let's find some cool some textures. Now, let's see here. Marble, metal. What do they got for metal? So whenever I do a model, go into the viewport here. I have this one, but I don't know if I really want to use that. I'm going to go back to my 2x2 model and 3D custom mesh. And here's the body FBX. Really? Oh, viewport. Alright, so for ha-has, here's the first one. Opacity, we'll do from above. No, we won't. There we go. Placement, freeform, there we go. Now, this thing is all over the place. It's out there. It's looking nuts. So, with what we have right here, it's this is already one of my quote-unquote finished, which was, I guess that's real rough. Underneath my local library, all types, underneath my textures. Now, I'm going to load something else in to my textures, but I need to remind myself some way, somehow, that I'm using textures.com. This was 20. I times everything by 20. File, save. Textures.com. Textures.com. TDC. So I'm going to put that in front of everything that I download. So let's jump back into the viewport. I'm going to right click and I am going to delete this layer. So we're going to go back to our regular layer. I think the first thing that I want to do is just kind of split this model up into different sections that I want to add each one of my textures to. And to do that, there is something else we have to download. Yes, this new way is not the same way that I was showing you guys. And I've really just been putting it back because I don't want you guys to take the lazy way out. I wanted you to learn the first time everything that I showed you. I see people jumping in and they're just like jumping back out. They're like, what, another thing to download? He's not done yet? Right here. Underneath GitHub, this is TextTools. This is going to allow us to break this up into sections and we're going to color code it. You're going to put this into Blender and you basically download it. It'll go into your downloads, and then all that I did was I took it out of my downloads, threw it into my C drive, which was TextTools, and then underneath Blender, you would hit Edit, Preferences, and you'd go into your add-ons, and then you would want to install, and underneath Install, you would just go to that zip file. You don't even have to like take out the zip file. You just double click on it. TextTools will come up. And then you would hit install. And then UV TextTools, after you're done installing it, just hit the check mark and you got TextTools. So now that you have TextTools, we're going to close this. And here we go. So I'm going to hit this and I'm going to hit tab. We got to start splitting this up into sections and what we want to use. First things first, I am going to AA tab. I want to find something just to color this section in right here. Or maybe our slider. Well, let's do the body. The body's probably the easiest part. I don't know what would constitute as the body, but let's just go with up to this weld point. I want to say, yeah, the weld point looks good. So you're going to hit tab, hit 3, and this is going to cover the majority of, well, basically the bottom here. Now if I hit W, I can click on it and drag it, come up, go over. That's one way of doing it. Another is if you hit you hit 3, you're going to get the side view. Holding shift, middle mouse button, you move around, and then you just zoom in and out with your, scroll wheel. So when you hit Alt and Z, you'll now bring up a 3D, well, not really a 3D view. It's the same as basically going into your wireframe. But if you hit Alt and Z, it'll do wireframe as well, but filled. So let's do Alt and Z again. and doing like that. Now I'm hitting 2. So what this is doing, this is showing my edges, my faces, and then you have your points or vertexes. One's the points and vertexes. I want to get the whole thing right here. So I'm just going to click on that now that I pressed Alt and Z. Oh, Control Z. Let's go right here. I don't want that, so I'm hitting Control. And I'm scratching that out. Control Z. Shift. Got that. Now that I have one down, let's hit Tab. I'm sorry. Solid. Alt Z. Notice how I went through all those points and not everything got on there. That's because now that's much better. Hit Control. I'm going to zoom in, holding Shift. I think I want to use this part right here coming down to the edge, the same color. So holding Shift, zooming in here. Because again, I want to use this weld point. You know what, we'll go right there as well. I want to use this weld point right here. Hit Control and kind of give it like the skin kind of a welding point. So I got to make that a completely different texture. With that being locked on, I think that'll look pretty good. So let's do that. Do this. If it gets a little bit off, not a big deal. We can just hold Control, Shift. And this is where Alt and Z really comes in. So I have this. You know what? Maybe we will do the front face and just do the whole thing. So that'll still be a weld point. Yeah, that'll look pretty cool. So you know what? Let's not even worry about that. We will go with this as well. Same thing here. I'm going to hit Control. Oh, Shift. Got a little bit here, which isn't a big deal. Bring that right up to there. All right, so those look uniform right there. This is not part of the weld point. Now, this part, no. Don't want that. Don't want these. All right. Same right here. Let's just do this. That actually might look pretty cool. Let's see what it would look like with this. Yeah, I think that'll look pretty good. Shift. And then, of course, you know, obviously the rest here. And just like in the other tutorials, here, let's get these right on the side, but not the rest. Now, I'm going to copy everybody and leave this part out because I'm going to throw my symbol there because that seems like the cool thing to do. And, you know, I started smoking because of the cool kids, so I'm not going to stop doing what all the cool kids are doing. I'm going to go down over here. Same right here. Get these in. This weld point we're leaving out. Make sure that we didn't get the other side with the weld point. Okay, good. We are going to go right to here. And then, of course, underneath as well. So now that we have all this in here, I'm leaving this off as well because I think I'm going to do something else with that. I don't know how. I don't know. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to keep that off for right now. So I'm going to have to color code this. And with that little plugin that we just installed, you're going to go into UV editing. And you're going to hit N. And now you have TextTools. And what we're doing here is we're going to be doing a color ID. The more colors that you use, the more confusing it'll get. You're going to convert blank from blank. Mesh elements, materials. I keep that. We can do mesh elements to materials. That's one way of doing it. Motherfucker. I keep it the same. That's a little bit more advanced. We'll get into that when we're actually making our own models. When the rules aren't as set in stone as, you know, say the rest of what else we're doing. Because we're converting it not just from this to one to the other to the other. We're converting all this just to get a skin. So let's try to keep it as clean as possible. So let's use just 5 colors. If you want to use more, feel free. But we're going to use code colors: blue, yellow, green, red, and dark blue. And those are pretty good colors. You can always change them too if you want them to be not looking, but sometimes some shades of blue will get mixed up with other shades of blue, or shades of green will get mixed up with other shades of blue. You want to make sure that these are set. Red. So that's deep red. Let's do that. So we're going to click on that right there. And then blue. So that's our whole model right here. Our whole model is now added on, and then we added the blue. And let's hit W again. So our whole model is red, and then we have to add on, because that's our base color. And now we basically have 4 other colors to work with at this point. We can always do more, but for right now, let's just stick with these. It's the easiest to do without getting things mixed up and, you know, getting people frustrated. So with that, let's make this blue. And anything else that we missed, now we can just go back and we can click on it. See right here, I missed a spot. Same thing, just hit blue. And it's a lot easier than going back from the other methods that I showed you guys. So now we have this. And it makes it a little bit easier to really, slow that down. What I did was when I hit shift and tilde, I didn't set my speed. You can do that with your middle mouse button. So we got that. We're going to color code all this wonderful stuff here. Same thing, color code. Motherless piece of garbage. All right, there we go. So there we go. All right. Got another one right there. So we're just assigning our colors right now. I want to keep this as close as possible. We'll do all this right here. Blue. Get in there gradually. And again, I mean, this is one of the plus parts about really making your model a lot bigger. If it's small and you get up in there, it's going to start disappearing into the model, and it's tough to see it. So as you scale the model in size, you're actually going to be able to move around it better without the camera getting all messed up. Let's get out of here. Come on. Same thing. Convert that to blue. All right, there we go. So now we got a color code started. And with this color code, you don't want to do too much. It's better to do this all at once. But I'm going to intentionally try to make this thing crash, just so you guys can see what not to do. Blender probably isn't going to crash. It's a pretty sturdy program at this point. There we go. Blue. Now I'm being real finicky with this. This way. Another way you can do it is actually jump into your UV map and look at it from there. I'll show you in a second here. I just like doing this so I can really look my model over and be like, all right, when I use this and I start displacing the model, is it going to mess up somewhere? Because, I mean, yeah, you're going to get an idea where your colors are going when you look at the UV, because that's everything sprawled out right in front of you. But when it's all folded over and then re-put back together, it's a little bit different. Actually, a lot of bit different. I'm sure some of you guys model, or it is what you do. This is just the way that I found out how to do it. And again, after you're done doing this the first time, you'll be able to save this for a template. Gonna assign the color. Let's go here. Boom. Go there. Yep, got another one there. Then just a couple more around the other part of the surface here. All right. So this is the starting of something. This would probably be a good point to save. You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, all right, screw it. Screw that idea for a weld point. I'm just gonna do this. Oh yeah, I missed that too. Control Z. Getting vertigo yet? I think that's pretty good like that. Did I want to keep that? I took so much time and effort and care. Let's just do this as the top. Why not? All right. Got the basis of that. All right. So when I was talking about the UV, let's do this. UV editing. Here, let's hit A. Oh, derp. So right here, I always keep forgetting to say this, UV sync. Good way to take a look at what you're actually hitting on here and corresponding it to your unwrapped texture. Again, in my other videos, I explained the difference between all those there. You're actually seeing what's going on here. So this whole piece right here, let's hit N. Shift and, what is it, control space? Control space. This whole piece right here, if I wanted to actually highlight that whole thing, which I can, and you can hit the same tools, W for this. And we can highlight this. You can go quick over it for the most part, and then you can get real touchy, just taking things off of it. I'm going to hit 1, so that does the points. It's not called, maybe they do call it points in Blender. I'm going to zoom in here. I'm just going to knock these off here. So we did that, control and space text it out of it. And that's this whole section right here. We could actually highlight that and then hit blue. And then anything else we can make it red. That's another way of doing it. The reason why I'm doing this the way that I wanted it to, actually here, let's do that now, is because for me, I mean, yeah, I can do that and then go back. That kind of tells me like, oh, maybe I would want to, make these right here red. And again, I flipped over to points, 2's to kind of do your edges, and then 3 to cover the faces. It's just a way for my workflow process. This, no. So let's go ahead. We're going to assign the color red to that. All right. So we have these right here. Why not? For right now, let's make it. You know what? Let's keep that red just for ha-has. Oh, another one needs to go blue here. And let's save this Blender file, save as, and we're going to put this underneath our tutorial AK-47. This is our base or our main, or I forget what they actually call it in the model when you download your model. Tutorial. It's not main. What the heck is it called? I guess we're calling it main. But I'm going to go up 1, Doomsday, no, up 2, tutorial, and we'll call this one blend. All right. Son of a... This is what I'm talking about. And you'll start seeing it, especially when we start flipping the textures and using it in Mixer. So now that we have this, let's go ahead, and we definitely want this right here all one color. So I'll show you the other way again. We click on this. It's starting off with here. It's like, oh, okay, well, what's on the other side? Let's say is this side part of it, and sure enough, it will be. So just start there, go around, Control Z, and then I'm holding Shift while left mouse button, and I should hit 3. Let's hit 2. So by hitting 2, then it also goes off points. And I'm just going to go here. get rid of these. So red and blue are already used up. This is our next color that we need to use. I don't believe anything else is selected. No. But we also want these to be selected too, because we're using it all in the same one. So holding shift, I'm going to go down. Oh hey, look at that. Control. Really? So this I'm going to use as one color because again I'm not going to get into the long-winded way I want to give this. So setting this up, yeah, it's tough, but once you get it done, then you don't have to worry about it anymore. And actually I'm going to put these maps up as soon as I'm done so you guys might be able to follow along a little bit better. The price you pay when it's free. So we have 4 of them. So we have another one here. This, I believe, is this back here. I believe. But I don't know. So now, instead of red, we're going to, again, hit N. I guess we'll make this green. Make sure there's not anything else. I think that's all that actually goes for the grip. I could be wrong, though. But boom, congratulations. This is now green. So we have our green. We have our red. And this right here, I'm going to make yellow. You know what? I'm going to keep it all one color. And then I'll just add on the extra after. So let's just zoom in here, and we'll just go ahead and we'll highlight this whole area. Screw it. 3. Boom. Congratulations, you're blue. Red, green, blue. Looks pretty straightforward to me. I don't know if I should make that the same color, if we can add something else in. I don't see why not, because we can always delete something later and then add it in. But the second you start going to the other colors, again, this is probably the best thing that you can do. So now that we have these colors here, I'm going to start with this. First off, make that all red again. Now let's see what this looks like here. All right, we know we need this. Hit Control, get out of here. We know we need that. Where is that? If you hit Alt-Z, you can actually see through. Let's hit Control, see if anything chops off that. That's strange. Control Z. So we need all of this. Gonna hit 2. Alt Z. And right up here. So we have green, red, blue. Alright, we have our slider and our handpiece. And we need the nub. Again, we can change this later down the road. I'm going to hit N right here. So we have green, red, blue, yellow. And we don't have this part, which it was in fact this. Thought we got that. What am I missing here? There you are. So now that we got that, it's going to be yellow as well. Oh, maybe I didn't get the back. That is so odd. Up here. Again, this is how Facepunch unwrapped their models. So there's really nothing we can do. We just got to work with it. All right. Not bad. Now, it's good to have nice, clean textures. Textures.com does provide them. Let's get this in right now, so that the only red will basically be, well, I don't know what I should do. Maybe I should do this one. We'll make that one bland color. This one we'll make a little bit more detailed. So start hitting that there. And just like last tutorial, same thing, except now instead of going in and doing the rest of that stuff, we're just color coding it. Zoom out. Here's the front. Or the back, I mean. I think the front is actually down here. I wouldn't have known that unless I, constantly messed with the models. So right here, since we got that, we're going to make this one light blue. And let's get the rest of this light blue. Really get it in there. And this will give us a basis of it. This is going to be like, oh hey, this is where our textures are going to be placed and what have you. Here, 3. There we go. Same thing here. And we're just going to go around. Blue. Better not change it, not now. All right. So there we go. We got our textures. You know what? I'm going to have this wrap around as well. We've increased our model to 20 times what it normally was. So now we actually have the model. We're able to work with it in any displacement that we add onto it. We now have just color coded this part right here. Awesome. Way to go. That's good to know. Now that we have this whole thing color coded with red, blue, green, yellow for the slider, And we have this here, our site. We're just going to go over it real quick, make sure that everything's color coded the way that we need it. Ooh, do I want that red? And keep in mind, it's going to be the same texture that we have the other one. So, I don't know if I'm going to... You know what? Blue really hasn't, the light blue hasn't been used too much. So let's click on this right here and see where that is on our UV. And it was exactly what I thought it was. There we go. So now that we have that as well, make sure that's the only thing highlighted, which it looks that way, so we don't want to throw it off. Now we have our color-coded mesh. Now we can start doing the fun stuff and choosing our textures. So this is kind of where I'm going to be asking you guys your input and what we should do with it. And the more you get to start to know a model, because sometimes our X and our Y is going to be messed up and thrown off. There's really nothing we can do about that unless you want to spend $200 a year. Or I guess you can get it subsidized on Steam, which is fine. So let's go ahead and we're going to file tutorial blend. Yeah, okay. I didn't know I named it blend.blend. So our size is going to be 1024 because that's the one that we chose before. Make sure these are the same too. Do not disable the sync. 256. Don't worry about your islands. That should be enough at that point, and then we don't need it. Obviously, we're using the first UV set. It's a 5 code color. So we're going to go to baking. And we're going to change it over to, you can do diffuse. Doesn't really matter. You can use element ID. I'm just going to choose diffuse because, I mean, we'll see what that looks like. AAA or AA, yeah, that's fine. I mean, we're going to be doing all that stuff, you know, second. So let's bake it. There we go. Color coded. Looks pretty simple to me. Tab. Underneath here, we have AK body diffuse. These are all going off and they're not totally bleeding in. Make sure we're not really getting any bleeding. That is a little bit off. So what you can do here is we can go into texture paint. We're going to choose our material. As an image texture, and we are going to open AK body diffuse, loading up all the colors. You know, we could just do it outside this. Maybe we will load up GIMP. I'm not going to mess with this right now because you have the different colors, but it's only showing certain ones. Here, let's go here. AK. That bleeding shouldn't be too bad. Well, but you know what? Let's find out. So, now that we have all that, another good time to save. Go into the layout. Everything looks pretty well done. All right. So, underneath UV, we have our image. And this is our image. We're going to go File, Save As, and we have a PNG. See tutorial. And there's two places that we can either save this. We can either save this right directly into here, or we can save it with the rest of your textures. Since I'm going to be saving this into the AK-47 body diffuse. Wow, that's pretty. We'll do this. delete, AK-47 code, save as. All right, now that we have that, and we did all that hard work for the past, I don't know, well, I was explaining a lot too. I think we're going on like 25, 30 minutes, maybe longer. We need to open our material ID that we just made. So load, go into your C drive, and we're gonna go down to, I saved it underneath tutorial, or wherever you would put it. This is tutorial. Here's my code map. Now that I've loaded up my code map, I can hit 8, and as you can see, same exact thing. This is where you're going to be telling your textures to go. Now we get to choose some textures. And I'm not going to repeat the whole thing about, here, let's hit 1. About using textures.com. Just this, what the hell is that back there? What the fuck is that? It's weird, dude. It's like we're in a museum and there's something back there. All right. We are going to go into textures.com. We're going to find some textures. Again, it's always better to make your own. And we have the GitHub. So I'm going to choose some sort of metal here. Galvanized is cool. Not really much of a bump map to that though. We have our painted, scrap, rusted metal is always cool. Scratches, seams, welds, bronze and copper, aircraft and panels, bare metal. Why not? We'll work with some bare metal here. Let's work with the slider first. So we're going to jump back in here. And let's work with this part right here, and then we can figure out what our grip's going to be. Or let's do the main body. Yeah, the main body's probably our best bet. So the main body, oh, and it's a 4K map. Now, this right here doesn't have this is it. Now, if we want 4K, we gotta get premium, premium, free. And we gotta log in. Alright, so since I gotta log in, I'm going to log in real quick here. This is kind of embarrassing. It shows you how much I use textures.com. It's really a pain in the neck. Alright, logging in. Come on. You can do it. Okay, good. Logged in. Sorry about that, guys. That's exactly what I was talking about with textures.com here. They definitely keep tabs on you. So right here, that doesn't give us anything. Let's see if there's any brushes or HDR spheres. PBR materials. Are there any that are free? Just released. Kitchen tiles. Oh, that's kind of cool. Will it let us download it? It's 100 credits for the compiled material. We don't need... Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do this. And it's 1024 by 1024. Perfect. Yeah, that gets right up in there. That's pretty good. So I'm going to download 1024 by 1024, but in order to download this tier, it's also going to purchase the credits before that, which is a pain in the ass. Here's our normal. We're going to download that. Now there's two different types. There's our roughness. I don't think we really need a height map. I'm not positive if they use that. There's our metallic, and then there's our AO. We definitely need these. Now a plus is it's seamless as well. So that's kind of cool. Because when we start actually scaling, it does mess a few things up. So we got our roughness, and it took away a few textures here. Damn. Which sucks, but we can still do that. So I'm going to go into my downloads. Albedo normal. So we're going to call this tiles decorative, textures.com. Cool. We can actually keep that. So it sort of does our work for us. So why not? Let's just do this as well. 1024. There goes 2 credits. Height. There goes 2 credits. 1024, 8-bit seamless metallic. 2 credits and 2 more credits. So new folder, tile, metallic, or we'll call it decorative. So hitting this, going up here, I can drag that right down into tile decorative, and then right here I'm going to press right click, oh, down here, there we go. So this one's C windows, downloads. We're going to choose, throw this one over here, click this. All right. So textures, and then we have our decorative. Now that we got our decorative textures in there, we're going to jump here. We're going to go into library, and we're going to import a custom service. Our diffuse, and now it's this quick. Now that diffuse is basically your albedo or ALLOT. I can't say it. We got that. Doesn't have a gloss to it. Never mind. There we go. We're going to get rid of that. Displacements are height, normal, AO, our roughness, our metallic. We don't have a cavity map. All right, next. area is going to be 2 by 2. And decorative. So you can actually change the height map to it. I'm going to bring it down to, let's just do 1. That kind of looks okay, I guess. So import. Oh, right. My textures. There we go. What would 1.5 look like? Oh, still getting away with it, huh? 2? I think I'm pushing it there. Yeah, let's do 2. Because that's not nearly as bad as the rest of it. We're going to import that. Going to hit 1. And now we can go into our local library, My Textures, and I'm going to click on Decorative. We're going to right click it. We're going to add a mask ID. And again, if we get confused as to which one is which, we know this one's our red, this is our blue, light blue, green, and then our yellow. See what it looks like with the yellow. So we're going to choose yellow, and we're going to hit 1. Not bad. It's something. What about, you can choose more than one as well. And this might not look the way that you want it to, so just click on that. You can do from above or from below. Sometimes opacity mask works, and then you just change your placement to freeform. And right here, this came up. Well, actually, that kind of fits perfectly. These might be off a little bit, so it might be a good idea to change them because the surfaces aren't all going in the same direction. And that's because we didn't unwrap the maps themselves. But no biggie. I mean, this is still something we can work with here. So here you can give the threshold, which has to do with the opacity. We can bring down the opacity and actually put more than one texture underneath the decorative. But for right now, let's just use the slider. So if you right click trying to look for that again, it's going to take you a while. You just basically click on where you want it to go. So let's take it off from the red. And with that, we are going to just focus on this right here. So we're going to go back here. We're going to go back down to our scale, and we can bring down the scale. Or bring it up, I mean. So that it gets larger, smaller. Let's bring it back to 1. Then you have your height, frequency, your threshold. We're going to do tiling. And you can do the repetitions of each one. So 4 and 4. Change it around. You can change, you can rotate it so that they start going to an angle. But keep in mind when you start rotating it, unless you redo this texture and you add on a duplicate texture, you're not going to be able to put it on the same way that you want it to. So this doesn't look too bad. This, you might want to make a totally different texture. Again, we can get into that. Still no tearing. That's a good sign. And you can change the offset too. So kind of bring this down on the X and Y. I want to bring these so that they're somewhat aligned. Or not aligned. There we go. Now the rotation, I believe, only goes by 90 degrees. I don't think you can set it to 45 because there is another area. Alright, so now that we have this, we can change our height frequency as well. There we go. And then our threshold. We're going to bring this down to negative. There we go. Alright, that looks good. And if you see some of these come off, it's because we didn't map them correctly. I mean, we may have, but again, it's all about messing around with it. So let's do another offset here. That's cool. I like that. Here we go. 90. That's a little bit better. All right. Now, what we can do here is you have your base layer, which is, you can add the originals onto there to see how they coincide with the other part, but I don't think we need that just yet. I'll save that for another tutorial. Oh yeah, let's bring up the opacity all the way. That probably has something to do with it. There we go. That looks so much better. All right. So we have the metallic look to it. We have the sparkling. Awesome. Next thing we want to do, if you hit 8, what would it, you know what, for ha-has, let's put it on the red as well. The slider. And so now that we have our material that we've imported, put it on here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to see what it looks like with this whole section right here, just for ha-has. So we'll click on this again, we'll hit red. Definitely want to preserve the details all the way. Wrap to underlying. That's for if you're making your main texture. Notice how it's messing with it. You want to keep this up to 1 all the time because it's really going to start messing with the actual displacement of it. So now that we have this, awesome. You know what? Let's do the whole thing. Let's see what it looks like with, I think, blue. Alright, let's take off yellow and red now. I don't know if that's too much for this type of texture, though. What would it look like? There we go. Alright, tile X and Y. God, it jumps so much. But you know what? That definitely gives us an idea as to how we're going to have it ultimately. I don't like it on there. So again, because we set everything up, we'll just click here. Let's throw it on the main part, which is dark blue. That's better. All right. So now we need something for the slider itself, and also, I mean, we made it with this too, so we might as well make it so that, yeah, some other solid color. Back into the PBR materials. Fabrics, floors, marble, metal. Duct tape. Duct tape would be good. Can always use duct tape. Charred wood, no. Underneath PBR materials. Ferrous metal. This would be awesome for the slider, one of these. I don't know which one you guys think, because so far we have this as the main body. So now that this is the main body, I was thinking some sort of super reflective material that basically it's going to pick up off of. And again, we did the hard part, so now it's just the fun part, choosing what we want to go ahead and use. Again, I don't... Ooh, hot steel. No. Put that at the end of the barrel. That'd be awesome. You know what? Because again, we only have... Let's see how many credits here. They only give us... I can't press page up or page down. Or home, because that messes with the stream. So that one texture knocked us down this much. That's what I was talking about. Because it's free, they give you so many textures. So, again... Let's do non-ferrous. Yeah. And these look good too. Maybe gold, because the gold and the silver would look pretty good. Of course, this has gold right here. But bronze. Battered steel. Gotta go with the battered steel. See what this looks like. Alright. So, we gotta start with our flat maps. Another 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, looks like we gotta do it. So 1024 by 1024. The metallic is just completely all... It might not be, though. There might be little parts missing in there that we don't see. It's PBR, so... Alright. Now that I got all those... We are down to 3 credits. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Alright. Yeah, crap. So, we're just waiting on that. We can also group textures together too. There we go. Oh, it's all downloaded. No, it's not all downloaded. What are we missing? Roughness, AO. Really? Three. We have our AO, roughness, our albedo. So we need our height. Okay, height. And don't worry about it using up your credits, because you already clicked on it, it already registered. It probably just didn't register it for whatever reason. Roughness, albedo, our AO we got. We need our normal map. Download this again. Did we get the metallic map? We did not get the metallic map. But we did get the AO. Alright. Metallic, normal, height, AO, roughness. Alright. So again, we're just gonna right click, new folder. Where's my new? Maybe create? What the hell, man? Blow this up. There we go. Right click, new folder. Steel battered. So now that we chose that, we just throw it right in here. And once again, we got to go ahead and do the same thing that we did with this. We got to go ahead and tell that it's making a skin rusty. So once again, from the ones that we've created, you got to go ahead and library, and we got to import our custom surface and start with, it's an albedo, it's not a diffuse. This is the original one, but underneath textures. Where did I save that to? Downloads. So back to your downloads and then back to your textures. So let's throw our textures over here. Downloads on this side, and we're just gonna throw that right over there. Jump back into here. Here we go. So albedo albedo, I can't say it, but that and diffuse mean the same thing. There are a couple other different things because it has to do with metalness and cavity. It has to do with workflows. Otherwise, you'd use a specular map. And it's PBR. You're working with PBR. So as soon as you choose that, it's going to choose the rest of them. And again, I think we said we got away. Yes, auto-populate. There we go. Where is our height map? Height. There we go. Because our height is our displacement map. I don't think we had a gloss map. But, hey, why not? So next, height 10. Oof, I don't know if I'd make it 10. Again, we got away with 2 without it really messing up. And again, we did 2 by 2. And we're going to call this, I forget what we called it, steel battered. Control C, right here. Control and V. Boom. And we can call the tag textures.com. There we go. Import. And again, category would be underneath my textures. There we go. Import. So that way, again, you'll have the materials that you're able to use without, you know, worried about getting slapped with anything that's going to basically hurt you. And there we go. So we have this one down here. Now notice how this is going over this. That's because we did not assign it. Well, first off, is there any other questions that you guys have right now? Before we start looking for other textures. No? Everyone's still pretty much following along, the 2 people that are watching? Because now's the time to really ask without. Okay. So right click, we got to add our ID mask. And again, if you forget what they are, you just press 8, and as soon as 8's on there, we know we want to correspond it with the color yellow. So 1 to go back to the PBR view. Oh, and because I didn't say anything, if you hit the number 1, that lets you move around on this. So let's go ahead and we're going to put this on just the yellow. And we still have a couple other things that we got to do on this. Again, we got to set it up so that it works with the rest of the model. And as long as it works with the rest of the model, you're good to go. So let's see how this would look on, say, the green. Now we got this again. It's because the way that it's set up. So you can do from above, see how that looks. Probably nothing because that has to do with it coming up from the top, coming down. You got to think of it. From below, it hasn't mixed it yet. Best way to do, opacity masked, preserve the details. Alright, threshold we brought up. It's not going to matter because we're on box projection. Throw it into freeform, and it just told us to suck our balls. Tiling. There we go. Now we're not sucking our balls nearly as hard. So we have that metal kind of pointing there, and I think the reason why it did that is because we brought down, let's bring down that and the threshold down to 0. Because that really threw me off. I've never run into that before. Freeform. Here we go. So freeform does work. Again, you got to be very careful with these. There was something going on here. Oh no, maybe not. Bring up the radius. No. Threshold. What the hell is going on? That has to do when we're actually blurring it. So now we have the metal here. And this is really pushing it in. But let's see what it would look like with the top. I do like that. That looks really cool. It's just now we have to mess with it a little bit. So let's go back down to our offset. Or, no, this we're going to have to use tiling for. And the repetitions, we're going to have to do 5 by 5. Because then it's just going to give it that much more detail. Again, we're using a 1020 by 1020. Or I think it's 1920. Whatever. $4K, you can do a lot more. Oh, that does look cool. And then you have this as well. So now that we have these all mixed together and we got the metal, we both have 5 and 5. You can change where it is. And then again, you can go up and down. That actually looks pretty good. And again, you can rotate. You can do the same up here too, but I believe... So frequency, we can change that to how intense it's actually going to be. The crusted metal or whatever. Rusted metal. That does look pretty good. All right. So, last two that we're going to need, because I believe the side is part of the metal too. So we have these as well. And if you want to see what it looks like in other environments, so like say you're using this on the desert, this is what it would look like in the desert in Rust, or, you know, a basic idea of how it would look. Because again, we got all that extra metal. Another tutorial that I'll do is, you know, the rest of the rust of everything. Haha. Last material. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna once again jump back into battered steel. We're gonna go back into our PBR materials, and we are going to choose, let's do like ceramic. Nature paint, pavement, plaster. I thought they had ceramic. Marble. Yeah, like a green marble slab. Lucky us. The height in the normal on the marble is not the same. And it's a 512 by 512. Son of a bitch. Alright. Gonna have to choose something else here. It's a shame too, because we're right at the end of it. Oh, they had metal plates too. Alright. I'm going to click on this. How does it look in the different environments? I will say that does look kind of cool. So we're going to do, again, 512 by 512. Alright. I'm going to go through the other textures that I got from textures.com. And I am going to see and want to do this. So figure you're going to have to start downloading your textures ahead of time because we only got 3 up there. Oh, plastic as well. What do we got for plastics? Oh, carbon fiber. Of course. Everybody loves carbon fiber. Anthropology, angle. That and our normal. Alright, well. Let's see what we got for textures. So, I know we had another one for downloads. And we're going to go into C. What did I have underneath miscellaneous? That's the sewer that I made. Buildings, ground textures. Nope. Wood. Old wood planks. Okay, old wood planks. Looks like I'm recycling you.
new folder. Old wood planks. And old wood planks is going to OWP. Because, oh, I gotta recycle that crap. Oh no. And these are going into OWP as well. Alright, we got all 4 or 5 of them. Wood planks is coming back. So, new material time. Local library and library. Import custom surface. Go up one. Old wood planks. Open that. And it has to be 1024 by 1024 or 512 by 512. Okay. Bump wall. There we go. Looks like I am going to use and recycle this right here. And 8, 2, green. And then steel battered, we're going to take off the green. And then, of course, right here, we're going to do tiling. And repetitions. That really does look like garbage. What about if we use it on, I believe, the red? Nope, on the red. There we go. And take the bright green off there. Take this off red. And we're gonna take, what was the light? That was the top. I know we wanted to use that. Man, that is a texture that, well, decorative. And this is what I was talking about when you guys are going to be very tempted to go ahead and be like, well, he needs a metal texture. He could just use this one. He could just show us. I could. But, I'm not going to. Sucks, because, yeah. I can add a decal layer too. And I'm going to do all types underneath my textures, and I'm going to throw this decal in. And I'm going to right click, and I'm going to throw this underneath add ID mask. I keep forgetting blue. Dark blue. Tiling. There we go. And it's because that is not transparent in the background. Now notice how if I threw this down below the other one, that would go on there, and then I would have... Notice how the normal map kind of blends with it. That's what we'll get into about making our own textures and things like that after. I just want to go down to the size. Here, we'll bring down the scale and bring this up above. Where is this thing? Where are you hiding? Where are you hiding? Alright, I'll have to mess around with that later. I thought I had more textures. I know I have more textures. I don't want to use my game assets. Go back to wood. Thank God! Alright. Alright. Dirt bubbles. Dirt bubbles it is. Boom. All the way down to here. I'm just holding shift. There we go. Throw some dirt bubbles in there. Give it a gritty look. The clean with the filth and the clean together. So now we will have library, import custom service, surface. Blah. We're going to go up to dirt bubbles. And we're going to do dirt bubbles. Open. Awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe that is all 5 maps. 5, 6. Our rough and our displace. Displacement right there. Roughness. There's our rough. Normal. There's our metal. There's no glossy, but we can change that. Alright, cool. Next, select a category right away. To my textures. Dirt bubbles, and we'll do this 2 by 2. Height. Can we get away with 2? We cannot get away with 2 on this. 1. We can get away with 1, it looks like. We could definitely get away with 1. Import those dirt bubbles. Awesome. So we're going to add a new surface layer. Dirt bubbles onto the green. And then, of course, now we jump into here. Tiling. And repetitions to X and Y will go up to 7. Alright. Preserve details. Throw our threshold up. Opacity all the way up. Trying to get these. Maybe we can get them. Let's do 4 by 4. Something's wrong. Is it supposed to be that color? Do the high. Alright, let's get out of our tiling here. Frequency. Bring down the low. There we go. Nice. Alright, that's a little bit better. And I'm going to throw the dirt bubbles underneath this one right here. But it's not really going to matter. And then I'm going to throw in a liquid layer. And put it right above this one. Now this is wrapped to your underlying mesh. It's how much it's going to hug it. Don't worry, it doesn't change your FBX file. It's just kind of like how it would look. And how it's going to project when it does it, when it sticks to it. So I did it just a tad. Because that's really going to throw this liquid layer over there. We're going to throw our threshold on the liquid layer up just a smidge. And the radius, and then our detail. We're going to have to make that in the texture itself. That's a whole nother story there. So file, we're going to save this as AK body, save. That way we at least have this. Now, the cool thing about this is I can click on this, and with this method it's just, boom, I want to go into the red, see what this looks like with the red. We're going to take this out, and we're going to throw this into the green for ha-has. So I'm going to mess with that again, and I'm going to drop the threshold and the way that it hugs it. Opacity, radius. I'm going to bring it down. I'm not really going to be able to tell unless it's on a flat surface, and then you throw that and create a whole nother map. Yeah. I do like this piece, and then, because again, we were talking about the weld. And if we do mess with just like the weld itself, or where there are welding points, you can make that a completely different color. But again, sometimes things get mixed up when they aren't, you know, solid colors. There's a little bit of a difference. The light blue and the green seems to be doing all right this time. So what we got here, let's I don't know how I want to do this. What if we were to switch this with the blue? Now notice how that this is like that. Okay, so we can take off that from the red and from the bright green. And we've kind of made a whole new texture. But I've said that a million times. Or we can just totally take that and put that on the cyan. No. Yellow. Derp. There we go. And we've kind of made more of it mixed the two together, and then that's where your height and your threshold and where you would put it. So like, let's throw this above here with the metallic dirt bubbles, and it went above our decorative. So let's throw the decorative above both of those. And honestly, let's knock it out. That's bright blue. Why is it covering the whole thing? I don't... Oh, because I chose the wrong one. So we could either have it with just this, and then this is where the threshold and the other maps are going to be, you know, from above, below, that type of deal. Because you're going to tell which one's above, which one's below. The detail, preserve detail. But as for right now, man, I'm really hating that. Alright, well, dirt bubbles, boo. Let's throw this on the red, and then we'll switch the dirt bubbles to the blue. And we gotta get rid of this one as the blue. So with those two switched, I mean, the gun looks totally different. And that's part of the benefits of being able to use Mixer and just quickly jump between the two. Especially for skinning. Because it goes back to the beginning again. It all depends on what we put and where. And when we save this map, essentially what we can do is we can just wipe out these pieces and then add back on the other colors. I'm thinking about calling it a night right now, because I am so tempted. I don't want to take up all this time, but you guys get the basic idea, and I think that's more than enough to actually go ahead and be able to do something with this. Let's jump out of here. See, from above. There we go. But I just like opacity mask because it masks the whole thing. It's a repetitive, completely repetitive. Tomorrow night, we will definitely take care of the rest of it. I'll be getting as many textures as possible. Actually, just for ha-has. Dirt bubbles? Floor. Here we go. Let's see what else we got. No, already tried miscellaneous. Door? Anything we can do with door? Nothing we can do with door. There might be something we can do with door. But it's not square. 1024 by 1024, 512 by 512. There's nothing we can do with door. Old brick. Old brick diffuse. That would look ridiculous. Brick small dirty. That again would look ridiculous. But as for other objects that you can get, you'll definitely be able to be doing a lot, that's for sure. Benches, things like that. Ay. Man, that sucks. All because I didn't wanna... Oh shit. Why not? Alright, let's go. Let's do it. We got this. Materialize. We're gonna open our diffuse map. We're gonna go into our drives and our C drive. And I believe I saved underneath textures and roof with metal, and then our diffuse. Why is it so far away? What is going on here? Is it like a thumbnail? What's going on? File info. 1024 by 1024. Alright. Save it as a PNG. Let's create a height map. Why is it so far away? There we go. So this, actually, you know what? It's better if we do this because then you guys can see exactly what's going on. So I'm going to go here. Right off the bat, just as is, I'm going to hit set height map. And then I'm going to show my full material so we can see how well the height map works. And what we don't want is spiking. You don't want those spikes. And it doesn't really look like we have any per se. But super shiny. Definitely don't want that. But off our height map and our diffuse, we can create our normal. And this is just a normal from a height map. And then we can shape, diffuse, uncheck from height. So there we go. So this is from our height map. This is from our diffuse. It really doesn't look like there's much difference, but let's set it as a normal. And we're going to show the full material. That's super shiny. I definitely think I got this from textures.com too, when I was messing around with just randomized textures. Let's create a metallic. Now the black part is going to be super shiny, and the white part, I believe, is going to be not as metallic. This is our blur. Let's blur it out a little bit. And we want to kind of flip these around. So saturation. And our high. Here, let's do this. Set as metallic, show as full material. Never mind, the white is as shiny as can possible. So create, and we're gonna go low. Set as metallic, show full material. Alright, it's not as bright, but it's still pretty insane. And then we can add a smoothness map. Maybe this is what I was thinking of. Show full material. There we go. Not as shiny. So let's create the smoothness map and then kind of metal smoothness. Make it not smooth at all. We're going to create another one again, and we're actually going to do final contrast other way around. There we go. That looks cool. That would be awesome. Because then you can still see the grifting in it and the gradient. Alright. So we'll create an edge map as well. And what the edge map does is it just kind of emphasizes the diffuse. Bring up the final bias, bring down the final bias, and then bring up the contrast. Set as edge map. There we go. So basically with this, it's just creating more materials. And the more materials you create, the better you're going to get at actual 3D modeling. And a lot of people reuse things. A lot. I know I do. I'm doing it right now. I didn't take this. I believe this is actually off textures.com. We're going to create an AO map. So that's our ambient collision. And we're going to bring down our bias. And our pixel depth is definitely going to go up just a tad because we can always bring it down in Mixer. And the power we don't want to, well, I mean that's blocking a lot of the light, but we can always mess with the AO again in there. Show the full material. There we go. PNG. And we're going to save our project. Tutorials. Where? Oh, tutorial. There we go. Tutorial. Textures. Create new. And we'll call this, not holster, grip. I'll just know that grip is roof. And grip. It is underneath PNG, right? PNG, there we go. Grip. Select. And it's saving everything. There we go. Let's jump back into Mixer. We're going to go into our library and we're going to import a custom surface. You guys should be pros at this by now. Albedo, go up, and grip. Grip height, map, metallic, edge, diffuse original, boom. Open, height, normal, AO, smoothness, metallic. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Did it use all of them? Well, one of my... Well, one is it not using? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Edge? Let's use the edge as our roughness, even though that's probably not a good idea. But next, we'll do this just like the rest of them, 2 by 2, grip, back. That doesn't look right. Can always edit it after. What the heck, why not? Let's keep it as that for right now, and then we can tweak with it later. We can actually play around with this just a little bit. Let's do 5. Oh. Okay, my textures that we created, import. Alright. Local library. We will grab grip. Get this out of here. I've had enough looking at that nasty, just disappointment. Okay. Here we have grip. And we are going to add the ID mask to the green? Right? Yeah, the green. And then, of course, tile. Let's get rid of this, because that just doesn't look right. Make this part of the blue. Alright, grip, let's mess with it. So, contrast, invert. Something doesn't look right. Okay, roughness. Let's do it underneath smoothness. See how that looks. Alright, there we go. So that's getting shiny around the edges, which is as dark as it is. Okay. So we want it OCC. Or, pretty much the same. Cancel. Metallic. Have it metallic as well. There we go. And now we can go back up. Let's bring up our height frequency. And our lower frequency. And then we're going to go ahead, bring down the amount of repetitions. And instead of tiling, we'll do freeform. And then we'll just scale it. Come on. Let's rotate this just a smidge. Come on. Oh, I had you. Zero. We'll do 0.1. 0.5. 0.6. Oh my god. This is killing me. 0.8. That looks pretty much flat. I want these to go right in between all of them. There we go. This whole thing, you're going to rely on building up your library. But you see how I was able to create my own texture? Or my own PBR that quickly. Here, let's delete this layer. Not bad. It's coming along. Um, so by doing this, essentially, what we can do is then we can make everything all one color and then just add it back in. So after that, then we can go back over to our material map, delete it. But for right now, see, I don't know if I should make that shiny or not, because then it just looks a little too wet. I mean, the top is fine right here. We got the metal spot on. It's just, I don't think... You know what? For ha-has, let's do this. Let's do this whole front metal right here. And then if we have... Let's switch a couple textures around. Hey, what's up, Dr. Dark? What's up, Dr. Dark? So what we got right here... We have all this that we need. It's rough enough. It's bumpy enough. It's fixed in. We have our grip. The colors match. And then, of course, I mean, we have the shininess of this material right here. It doesn't drop too much at all, so it's not messing up our texture. But again, I mean, this is like what I was talking about. This relies heavily, and I mean heavily, 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 on building up your texture library for your local library of things that you made. I suppose we could try using this, but it's not going to come out. These are the ones that we used tonight. Alright, so let's try this. Let's try switching. Let's take off this part right here. We have red there, so let's take this off red. We'll get rid of that. And then we're going to go ahead and we'll add... What would it look like for the grip? Or with the grip? Because then we're messing with the texture yet again. I mean, I suppose it would be good for the seams. How about this? Because that doesn't hit that one right there. So we'll use this for the red. Or we can mix the two textures together. Yeah, why not? Let's see how it looks as a mix. Because then we have the metal underneath this, and because these are set with the other ones, it'll give us a black. So you're dealing with heavily color schemes. A lot of color schemes. So if we take this grip off this, then we're just dealing with this one right here. And that actually kind of goes with the weld points as well. And right up here, you have that weld point that we were talking about. And this definitely makes it a lot easier than the other method. But again, you're relying solely on... Oh yeah, we got to add our grip back to green. You're relying solely on all the textures that you create. Which you're doing anyways, and I'm like, alright, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Whatever you do, definitely don't use the mega scans. I mean, we could use that, I guess, but it's not going to end well. So we could go ahead and just make a whole nother texture. Like, I'm thinking of band coming down this way. And as long as we have that band there, then it kind of changes it up a little bit, and then we can push it into here so that it sort of hugs the metallic. That's what I'm thinking, at least. So, I mean, I guess I could put a placeholder in there for right now, just for ha-has. Which then I'm going to have to get rid of it because, again, you know, it's like I said before, it's not my material. So, this is nothing that I can publish. Well, this, the way I have it now, I can publish. Let's add some sort of band. Alright, we got that. So this, I am definitely going to put, I'm going to give it a color tag, a red color tag, knowing that I can't publish it because it's a mega scans.
because it doesn't have anything to do with the Unreal Engine, and it has nothing to do with, and you can see it actually coming up in here, and it has nothing to do with Megascans or the license that I have, because this is going both into a Unity engine game, and it's also Face Punch. It's not a company that has anything to do with them. Sweet, thanks Ace. So now that I have that there, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to throw in that band. And the best way to do that, again, that's why we set it up and it took as long as what we did, is because we had to color code everything, make it very simple, and then from there you just work on your textures. Once you get your textures, or I'm sorry, your materials. Once you get your materials the way that you want them, then you're good to go. So let's wrap that around this. And that's above this one, so it's going to lay on top of it. So let's add the mask ID, and this is blue. So we got that on here, and of course it's going to be a tiled, or no, freeform, because we only want it to go once. And we got to bring that above, and we got to bring it out. So there's the underlying, and we want to bring this over some, and I kind of want to scale it down just a tad. Whoa. Alright, so we're going to bring it over. Actually, I think that would look cool right between here. Right up front, right before the weld point. Let's bring up our high frequency so that it comes down and we can really see in between. And we're going to bring up our low frequency so we can see the rest. And then of course we don't want the threshold to go too much. Alright. Preserve the details. Threshold comes up. From above. From below. Alright, so right up on top. Oh, no, bring that one back down. There we go. This one goes above our decorative, and now we got that slapped on there. I don't know. Oh, crap. What am I doing? Bring that down a little bit, and that's our X, I believe. It's so touchy, that slider bar. That's the one thing I don't like about it. You know what? Maybe we do want it to go back. Or we could have it go the long way. What am I doing? Rotate it 90 degrees. Boom. There we go. And now I bring the offset. And bring the Y. Bring it right on top. Come on. You can do it. I know you can. Did it before. There we go. Slide that back. There we go. So now we got that. That's right in the back. So you got like your high yellow, and I do not like the way that those bumps are displaced, so we really got to focus on those. That's gonna, because don't forget, these are gonna be downgraded to 512 by 512. So let's bring down our threshold, or bring up our threshold, I'm sorry, and then we can go down here to our frequency and bring down this, and we'll reverse it, but not nearly as much, so that it goes in instead of going out, and then bring this down. There we go. And if we want, we could throw a noise modifier in there too to really get it going. But I'm going to have to create another texture. This is just so it's like a placeholder. The rest of these I can use. I don't know. Oh, I got a few people in here now. Holy crap. So we can do that, or we can do... I don't know. Basically what I did here was I just used it as a decal. Um, let's see what it would look like. You know what? Just for ha-has. Let's see. I do like that too. Because it kind of changes it. Just a tad. Not by much, but still it's something. And it really emphasizes... I don't know. What do you guys think? Should keep it with the yellow or keep it with the gray or go with the yellow? You know? Because I think the yellow kind of brings out more of a brightness to it. Because right now we already got our metallic. All right, we got our metallic down. We got our shininess down with the grip. I just... I mean, I know how to do this stuff. I'm just not good at the aesthetics of... If it was my model, I'd know exactly what to make. But this is somebody else's. Because again, I mean, between the two... Or should the band go up and down? I'm just... Oh, you know what? We can have it go completely around the model except for where the slider is. And then... Maybe I'll do that. And then I'll just scale it down. There we go. Yeah, why don't we do that? That actually wouldn't be too bad. And then I'll just throw the offset over here. Rotate it to 0 so it comes back to there. And then... Why is it? Because I'm not tiling it. There we go. Or do it like a bumblebee. See how that looks. It's too flat. There, just tile it right against the X. And then... Where are you? Okay, now it just goes around the whole way. There we go. Boom. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make that stick out from the top. That would make sense. And then just bring up our low frequency. There we go. Maybe bring it back just a tad. And of course we have this all metal. And this is what I was talking about when I was going through the first part too. I wasn't sure whether or not I should have this connect to the bolt itself, which I probably should have in hindsight. So, I mean, that's a quick fix. We can do that literally right now. So what you do to get that in there is you can actually do that on the fly. So here we go. We jump right back into Blender where our layout was. I use them as the same material, really? I use them as the same material? I did not use those as I used them as the same material. Son of a bitch. So these three things, 1, 2, 3, and this is what I'm talking about, how you're going to go back and forth between all of them quite a bit. I could have saved 2 material spaces because, well, let's just do this one right now because I know I'm going to want to change the slider at some point, or I might want to add on to. The slider should always be another color. But this grip right here, I mean, unless we want it smooth, a lot of people actually do, you know, the like what we did right here with the bumpness. So I'm going to go ahead. I want to grab that and put it onto there. So we're going to go right here. Same thing that we did. UV editing. And let's jump back here. Where's that blue? There we go. So we're just going to grab this blue. So we got that part, and again, you gotta hit 3, Alt-Z, there we go. Let's get all of it, the whole thing. Alright, have the whole thing filled up, all the polygons, yep, looks good. Or we could keep the other one blue. I mean, no, because it's all one material. It's not going to matter anyways. Whatever. We'll figure it out later. And come down to our color ID, and we're just going to switch that to red. Bring this up to baking. There we go. So we got a 5 code. Let's clear our bake. What am I doing? We're dealing with color codes. Derp. So we're doing that just as red. Textures, this PC. And again, it's all about saving where you have it. So underneath tutorial, we are going to do tutorial. Here's the diffuse color body. We want that the same as this right here. And we can actually, so that blue, we want the red. Open with. Yeah. We'll do GIMP. It's because I had already baked it. I don't understand why it's not letting me do that again. Here, file, load. No, don't save. Blender.blend. There we go. Got our first one. Now we know that these are all going to be the same. And you can just jump back and do the other thing. I think I'm going to call it a night tonight because my buddies are blowing up my phone. I told them a couple hours, and this went on a little bit further. This was going to be the longest one. Just because, I mean, yeah. So tomorrow we'll go ahead, we'll reuse some of these materials that we created tonight. Figure I'll start around 7 tomorrow, and then we'll get done by 9 with the whole entire rest of it. And then we'll just redo this for any of you guys that missed the rest. But yeah, we got our materials, and again, I know you guys are gonna want to do this. You can't, because I'm not keeping this one. This one, in fact, here we go. Boom, delete layer. That's gone. So that layer is gone now. Because you want it to look good, but at the same time, you don't want to lose your shit or have someone call you out on it. And you always got to put that disclaimer, use textures from textures.com. And then I'll do another video on how to create your own textures from, I don't know, going to the road or something like that. But yeah, enjoy, guys. Oh, you know what? What would it look like if I mix these two together? Just for ha-has. Because this is the grip, but what if we add this on for the grip as well? Oh. That's kind of cool. Alright. And then instead of the light blue, I can add the light blue on here. And give it sort of a... Well, I can add a shine to that too. It's all about reusing what you got. So again, let's go ahead, because we got to make it complete. Body, AK test. I don't want it to be underneath that. Anything underneath finish? No. Finish. There we go. Select folder. We'll add our gloss map, our metalness, and export the 9 maps for the body. I gotta jump in Rust anyways. The buddies are calling. I'm gonna go there. Our whole entire base is gonna be gone. It's gonna be brutal. Yeah, war's already in there. So let's see what this looks like for ha-has, just for right now. Workshop. We'll throw it underneath the DOS poly. And then you just put the corresponding colors to, or the corresponding maps to whatever. This was the other one that I was working on. I probably could have used these maps. Actually, that would be awesome for the bottom right here. But this took us forever to do, whereas most of the time was just choosing where the heck we wanted to put things, and we did it on the fly with Mixer. And then you can move it around, resize it, tell what type of material you want it to have, and ultimately we came up with C test tutorial AK-47. What did I save it underneath? Saved it under... No, you fucking... Gotta get that off. AK stock. Test finish. Oh, I saved it underneath Rust models. Why would I do that? I was in the right spot. See? I'm unorganized. You don't want to do this. AK stock. And finish. Alright, there we go. Albedo, diffuse. We'll start with our diffuse. There we go. Open. That doesn't look right. Is that right? That might be right. Let's do albedo. No way. Yeah. Test finish. Alright, cool. Normal map then. Open up our normal.
Rust models, AK stock, test, and then finish. And body. Oh, that's why. There we go. And then body. Normal. Yeah, that looks better. Come on. Normal. And then we got our specular gloss. Where is our gloss? Open. Our AO. And there's our body. Now we gotta tweak it around with rust just a little bit. Body normal. Open. There we go. There we go. Boom. This has got to come down. Glossiness has got to come down. Same with our AO scale. Bring our alpha cut off. For whatever reason, it's not picking up the normal. No big deal. We can always throw the normal in with the other one. Let's do the roughness. No. AO stays the same. Specular gloss will go to metalness. There we go. That's better. We exported 9 maps, and the problem is we have 4 places that we can put it. So you want to see where the reflections are going? This right up here I'm having a problem with. Oh, because we didn't have anything on there. We took off the... That metal looks fine. Why is the normal... It's not strong enough. It's alright. We can mess with that. Create subfolder, add resolution to file names. Let's try diffuse then, because... Or albedo. There we go. Body, albedo. There we go. Open. Better. Alright, there we go. Awesome. Bring the glossiness down a lot. You want it to match. There we go. So much better. And then let's look down the site. There we go. No texture tearing. And even though it was 1024 by 1024, notice how this is still kind of grainy. So we just have to go up and we have to export it as... Let's do it as 2048. Export 9 maps. Because I think no matter what you do, no matter what, it's always going to convert it to 512 by 512. Alright. I don't know if this is supposed to be as shiny, so again, you want to try to replicate this as much as possible. Nope. It definitely isn't, so we got to bring down our metalness. And specular gloss, we are... Oh. We have 2K. There we go. Diffuse. Open. Now let's go ahead and... Come on, look down there. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It always flips it over to 512 by 512. That sucks. We'll do normal. And then specular gloss will be gloss. And then we'll bring down the glossiness. Flip it. Okay, bring it up a little bit. Finding that sweet spot that made it look like the rest of it. And then of course our AO scale. Nope. Better. Bring up our normals. Flip it. There, now we can start to see the metal as normal. Bring up our glossiness. Flip it. And while we're at it, let's go over here. That's much better. That is so odd that it's sticking with that, like, universally. I don't know if it's because I added... Well, we can fix it. Not a big deal. And we definitely need to make that normal map a lot stronger. But, yeah, so far so good. So, we're getting there. That's really bothering me. AO, 2K, open. Oh, there we go. Alright, cool. Bingo. Yeah. Alright. There we go. What's up, Professor Midnight? This is, how to make your own skins for Rust. Alright, so we got the sheen. Glossiness is good. Figure probably right in the middle. And then that way when we flip it, Perfect. That's our AO. Glossiness comes down. All right, cool. And then, of course, if you want this to be more red or blue or whatever, you can just mess with the color here. The green. Until we get it exactly how we want it. But right now I'm just going to keep it all as is because we shouldn't have to do that in here. Ultimately, we should only have to be able to do it here. And again, that's supposed to be dark black. We got every other one. And then where his fingers are going to go. And then, of course, I mean, we can always add... Well, we could use the dirt bubbles up on the top if we really wanted to. So that one is light blue or cyan. There we go. And we are just going to bring up the repetitions to 8 and then 8 so that it's more compact. Let's bring the threshold down just a little bit so that we can go down here and bring up our frequency. There. Bingo. All right. Cool. So not bad. So that's what we got for tonight. Tomorrow night we'll continue on and we will figure out the rest that's going on here. And we'll go from there. So have a good night, guys. Talk to you tomorrow. Again, please refrain from using from your local library that has to do with megascans. As easy and fun as it may be, it will only screw you over in the end. All right. Have a good night, guys.